Like an unforeseen meteor, James Anarchy Ian McKelvian came from nowhere in a moment of brilliance to unleash a tremendous force, causing a wave of anarchy that would sweep across the world. This nowhere he came from is the east coast of Canada in the mid-1980s. It is rumored that Anarchy Ian first revealed his dreams of revolution when he accidentally wrote the popular anarchist symbol while in grade 10, in a Freudian slip that would have made Sigmund fall flat on his back. Many experts who have psychoanalyzed Anarchy Ian have agreed that his rebellious nature was most likely brought forth from an oppressive and corrupt institution. But regardless of whatever schmo high school he attended, he must have had excellent grades because he received a full scholarship to the University of Toronto. While at university, he met other radicals who shared his evil vision, and this began his non-theological crusade to spread his version of the truth to those who preferred their own. In 2004, Anarchy Ian wrote the Anarchist Manifesto, which became his claim to fame. Anarchy Ian was arrested in 2005 after a large protest rally led by him at the Parliament building of Canada erupted into a massive riot. Anarchy Ian insisted that he was exercising free speech, and should have been able to say any deranged thing a sick mind could come up with, but he was sent to jail for 5 years regardless. While he was behind bars as an anti-political prisoner, thousands protested his sentence, saying that his civil rights had been violated, assuming he was human at all. His popularity soared, and the Anarchist Manifesto became one of the most downloaded files on the internet. By the time he was released in 2010, he had acquired a massive following of anti-conformists and trend-seekers, and in the following years, he amassed a mighty network of followers from coast to coast. And this time, anarchy symbol graffiti increased 600-fold. Anarchy Ian was also suspected to be behind the 2011 bombing of an American embassy in Ottawa. But he had bigger fish to fry than this, and he spent 2 years studying the art of fish frying at a community college for terrorists. On February 9, 2013, he put his plan into action and had his followers simultaneously bomb every Canadian provincial capital building and the Parliament building. He and his revolutionaries immediately began establishing anarchy in Canada by force, in an effort to supposedly free the people from oppression by holding guns to their heads. The government was gone, and personal property was abolished. Many had already known it for years, but now it was official. The Canadian dollar was worthless. Those who disagreed with Anarchy Ian's new utopia were handled by the members of a mysterious group known as the Secret Police Enforcement Department, or SPEDs, usually in the middle of the night. The SPEDs handled all the worthwhile parts of Canada very well, but they met mass right-wing opposition from the rigid conservatives on the eastern coast. This erupted into a civil war known as the Atlantic Rebellion of March 2013, which lasted only 3 days. The end came when General Vault captured Fredericton from General Clark, in a battle that left the tiny city in ruins. General Clark was last seen fleeing on an icebreak down the St. John River. Following the Civil War, many United Capitalism loyalists fled to the United States, but the vast majority stayed for some reason. Perhaps because the many community centers spotted by spy satellites were actually brainwashing camps. Anarchy Ian's web of influence was so vast that in no time he was catching large, helpless flies the size of whole countries. First Cuba, North and South Korea, Russia, China, Germany, Vietnam, and much of Eastern Europe became anarchist territories. Soon after came the British Commonwealth, Japan, Mexico, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Taiwan, India, and Singapore. If you ignore the fact that there was no supreme authority, it could be said that this formed what some called the Anarchist Empire, the largest empire the world had ever seen. America's foreign trade plummeted into a nosedive since their business partners had gone anarchist, sending the stock market into an all-time low, and sending the country into another depression that was even worse than the first, called the American Rock Bottom. The anarchist territories didn't feel this new depression at all, which prompted countries hurting from it to go anarchist. America needed to stop this new Black Plague, and they had an idea about who were the rats behind it. In an effort to stop anarchy at the source, the United States declared war on Canada. This war was popularized in the American media as the War on Anarchy. The anarchists of former Canada insisted that this was terrorism, as America was declaring war on people instead of on a state. Regardless, America was preparing for a war effort funded primarily by wealthy Americans. The first attack, known as the Blitzgates, came on August 6, 2015, when the U.S. Air Force dropped a hydrogen bomb from the Canola Dyke B-52 bomber onto the communes at former Toronto, and another bombing on August 9th at former Ottawa, giving over 5 million anarchists what they deserved. With this, the American invasion began. Despite being very disorganized, the anarchists quickly adopted guerrilla warfare tactics and managed to hold off the American invasion, probably by doing something cheap like using poison gas. Little did the anarchists know, the biggest threat to anarchy was already among them. This threat was Darcy Organ, the lesser of two evils, who was living in a large vegetarian commune in the former British Columbia. In 2016, she published a book, Animal Farm 2: Snowball's Revenge, which immediately became a hit and was distributed from coast to coast. But the book subtly preached the good that can come of communism and dictators. Her unassuming fanbase didn't realize they were becoming card-carrying commies, and soon Darcy's book tour evolved into a huge following of supporters hanging on her every word. Once she had the majority in favor, she declared herself the dictator of Canada and put a communist government in place. Anarchy Ian was shocked that the people would give up their supposed total freedom and accept her so readily, so he tried to discredit her, first with a doctored video of her and Tommy Lee Jones. Darcy followed up with a public statement. Anarchy Ian then tried a slander campaign, but Darcy counteracted it with a new PR campaign. Knowing well the evils of competition, Darcy called upon her group called the Wisps, which stood for Widow-Inducing Secret Police. Anarchy Ian heard about this and immediately went into hiding in a cave somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. In the wake of Darcy's success in the re-established Canada, other ambitious and power-hungry leaders around the world began to step forward and take charge, such as Britain's former child star Daniel Radcliffe. It was simply too soon for world anarchy, and this was realized as the anarchist territories one by one transformed into communist countries, creating a new communist empire. In this political line dance, everyone was taking a step to the right, but unexpectedly, America took a step to the left, adopting more socialist policies. In 2027, Anarchy Ian stepped out of hiding for the first time in 11 years to attend the funeral of his childhood hero, Fidel Castro. Darcy had also gone to mourn the revolutionary, and Anarchy Ian was spotted by her agents. While near Havana, he was killed with a pickaxe by a WISP agent on August 20th, 2027. Anarchy Ian's Speds took it upon themselves to have him kept perfectly preserved in a glass coffin on display at the McKelvian Mausoleum in Black Square, where it can be seen to this day in the town of Fredericton, New Brunswick, at 300 Priestman Street.